Hi there, so this is a little thing I played with. You can see it requires authentication. The system is entirely secure. And it's a CRUD app with 4 entities: patients, appointments, treatments, invoices. It's basically a CRM system for dentists, right? Thomas, Hansen, blah, 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 very nice guy, right? I'm not going to win the design contest, obviously, but let me show you how I created the system, because I still have the prompts open. I used Magic Cloud, link in the description, and notice I'm using the open source version. So I mean, you can download this, and if you have an open AI API key, you can actually reproduce this now. Basically just said create CRUD API. And then I tell it to know manually. I need a CRM system for dentists. Suggest schema, DB name, and module name. And then it suggests the schema for me, shows it to me as a chart. And then I'm telling it what to name the module. Yes, yes, a couple of times, SQL DDL. And then I tell it to insert some sample records. Right? That's where John Doe comes from, and Jane Doe or Jane Smith. And this is where I start the generation process of the CRUD API. I basically just tell it to continue, don't ask me for feedback. But I kind of like have to nudge it a little bit here, saying I want optional sorting and filtering. The paradox is that the API has tons of features that the front end couldn't even leverage, and I just had to give up because the front end, whatever, will come to that point. So, and then this is an error, self-corrected error for the record. Here it's invoking an AI function with the wrong arguments, and the LLM self-corrects because I'm just pushing up the error message back to the LLM, right? And then you see here, it actually didn't create the folder before it tried to save the file, but it self-corrects perfectly here, right? So now it has the folder, and it has the correct file function and arguments, and then 2 minutes later, I've got, let me show you, modules, dentist, I've got like 12 HTTP endpoints. All right, you can see all of them here. You can try them out here if you wanted to. And did one mistake with one of my HTTP endpoints. And actually it didn't do a mistake that would even be visible because the front end doesn't even implement paging or sorting or filtering or anything. So I mean, I could have created a much easier backend if I wanted to, right? But the point is, when I come down, so I'm manually guiding it through fixing that one bug. When I come down here, I'm done with the front end, no, with the backend. And look at my scroll bar here. So everything from here and down is basically me fighting the LLM to produce the correct front end. One trick I've realized is that whenever you tell it to save files, you need to tell it to load the file it already has first, right? And then you need to tell it to add its changes and show you the whole new file. Otherwise it tends to, for some weird reasons that I don't understand, tends to completely overwrite the entirety of the file only with your changes. So if you have that file with 10,000 lines of code and you tell it to add paging, okay, that's 2 lines of code at the bottom of that file. You open up that file in the IDE afterwards. You got 2 lines of code because it just deleted 1,000 lines of code. These are things I can probably over time accommodate for in regards to the way I phrase my workflows, because I've realized that if you tell it to constantly load the file, add the changes, and show you the entirety, complete file before it saves it, it actually tends to not do that. But still it messes up with margins, and this isn't my fault. This is GPT-5 actually, not 5.1 or 2, but GPT-5. So there might be a better situation if I upgrade to 5.2, But basically, at the very least, GPT-5 is not good enough to create front ends. But it's, when you fine tune the way we've done, right, on GPT 4.1 mini, the backend LLM is like insanely good, right? That is like, I mean, you know, yet again, you see the scroll bar here, right? So from here on and down, I'm basically fighting the generation of the front end. And here is how far I came. And you can see here, basically. Now the system allows for deleting items. I failed to delete, probably because there was a foreign key. Right, let's delete that guy instead. It has appointments, it has treatments, it has invoices. I can, you know, add new items, and I can edit existing items, and I can delete existing items. It's got all 4 CRUD operations, and arguably is a complete CRM. It's not going to win any design contests or anything like that. I mean, it's probably never ever going to be enough for anybody. But I just wanted to show you a little bit what you can do today, right? And this is an open source system, right? So it's basically on par with Lovable, at the very least for the backend, probably way above Lovable and Bolt44 when it comes to backend. Comes to frontend, we've got a long way to go. But the backend thing on this thing is probably an order of a magnitude higher quality than both Lovable and Bolt44 and, you know, all of those guys. And it's 100% open source.